Hello everyone, my name is Jaren and welcome to the channel. Most of us know that Spidey is not only an amazing comic book character, but many other things as well, such as a video game, movie star, and a television star, which is what we'll be talking about today. Not everyone realizes this, but children all over the globe have been watching Spider-Man on TV for almost as long as he's been alive, 49 years, which means that there's a lot to cover, which is the reason why I split, which was once one video, originally, into two separate videos. So, here's the first half of the history and evolution of Spider-Man on television. Spider-Man 1967. And a lot of these are going to be called just that, Spider-Man. Interesting fact, unlike the others on this list, Spider-Man 1967 series was actually a Canadian-American show with Canadian-American voice actors. You can instantly tell what this show is like by the footage I'm about to show here. It will be really hard to explain in words.
He's up there somewhere. Turn on the searchlights. I wonder what's going on down there.
Looks like somebody broke into the Midtown Museum.
There he is. Get him.
Spider-Man!
Don't let him get away.
Ooh.
It's wacky, it's fun. If I just said that without that footage, then you would take that as, oh, generic 60s show. I get it. But even though that's what makes this show great, what makes this show really special is the theme song by Paul Francis Webster.
Spider-Man, Spider-Man, does whatever a spider can. Spins a web any size, catches thieves just like flies. Look out, here comes the Spider-Man. Is he strong? Listen, bud.
Paul Francis Webster, greatest standards indeed. Definitely. This memorable series had a 3-year run with 52 episodes, each 25 minutes long. Spidey Super Stories, 1974. Spidey Super Stories is definitely one of the most different but unique shows on this list. For one, it was live action. 2, each of the 29 episodes aired were treated as skits, which meant they were only 5 minutes long. Most of all, 3, one of the main purposes of this series was to teach kids how to read. So for Spider-Man, instead of normal out loud speech, there would be word balloons as substitute. Also, no other characters from the Spidey Super Stories comic book series ever appeared on the show.
And a box of squigglies. Yes, true believers, shocking as it may seem.
Not to mention this was the first time Stan Lee addressed his viewers as true believers. So that's where that came from, if you've ever wondered, like myself. Along with 5-minute episodes, there's a 15-minute theme song that pretty much no one remembers, even though it is underrated. I watched a couple episodes myself and have to say it reminded me of Reading Rainbow, maybe too much. Even though it got a little annoying sometimes, I also thought it was the best educational little kids TV series I have ever seen. Probably just because Spider-Man was in it for me, but still, it has some good quality. If it didn't have good quality, I wouldn't have watched it at all. Another thing, it's actually funny. I mean, compared to other shows meant for 4-year-olds. It was just funny enough to make me smile all the way through.
Now the ringing sound you hear is your signal to pick up the receiver. Do you need some help? Hello? 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 Hello?
If you want to see an episode for yourself to properly understand what I'm getting at, I downloaded an episode and posted it on my channel. It's called Spidey Meets the Prankster. Spider-Man 1977. This is a movie, but it's still pretty important. Even though the fact that Spidey Super Stories was Spider-Man's first taste of live action, this film takes us to a whole nother level. How about extremely dangerous stunts? Look at this. Look. This is Nicholas Hammond. He spins a web, and then he jumps, and he actually did that. Okay, obviously we're going to talk about the stunts first. These include swinging from building to building, scaling walls, ceilings, and every other thing a spider does. But, of course, doing these things for film nowadays would be the least of problems, but for the 1970s, the actor who played Spider-Man, Nicholas Hammond, could have easily been killed by the smallest mistakes. To keep him safe, production team had to spend days rigging and wiring in order to make stunts that look so simple on screen, such as crawling up a building, safe. These performances were so risky and expensive, in fact, they took the footage from the movie and made it for the TV series, which is next on the list.
You've heard about him. You've read about him. Now, you'll see him in action.
Kill him.
No challenge is too great. No enemy is too strong. The most popular, most daring, most exciting superhero.
But despite major efforts in bringing Spider-Man to life, according to Wikipedia, this is supposed to be one of the worst films of all time.
Spider-Man. Now,
It's kind of
he
sad
lives.
when you think about it. The Amazing Spider-Man... yeah, I'm sorry, that ruined the tempo, but it's necessary. And unlike the movie, which was considered to be the pilot of the show actually, this series was critically acclaimed, getting a 22.8 rating with 16.5 million viewers. The series seemed to struggle with connecting to older viewers, for maybe being aimed at younger viewers a tad too much. Some comic book fans weren't happy either, mostly for the lack of recognizable villains. It would be like if the MCU decided to make the Spot the main villain of Spider-Man Homecoming. Pretty annoying, especially since this show was kind of a big deal back then. I think I've already explained why. Something interesting about the series is that some of the cast members to star in the pilot were replaced when the series started, such as J. Jonah Jameson being played by David White in the pilot, and Robert F. Smith in the series. Another thing, 11 directors for a show that had exactly 13 episodes. The final episode date took place July 6, 1979. It wasn't over then, though. In the 1980s, the studio tried to revive the franchise with an Amazing Spider-Man series reunion movie, with Nicholas Hammond in the black suit fighting alongside the 1980s Incredible Hulk. Unfortunately, the idea was forgotten soon enough. It would have been really interesting to see in live action, especially back then. Of course, everyone's probably going to watch Infinity War in 2018 with Tom Holland and Mark Ruffalo. Spider-Man the Toei TV series. You probably weren't expecting this one. This is a live-action Japanese Spider-Man show. And this time, Peter Parker is nowhere to be seen. Instead, a motocross racer called Takia Yamarasho. And instead of fighting off classical villains such as Doc Ock, the Lizard, or Green Goblin, he fights off a band of robots called the Red Cross in order to avenge his father's death. Unlike Peter, Takia was never bitten by the radioactive spider. Instead, he uses equipment, such as his spider bracelet with a press of a button. His suit flies out and nearly instantly attaches to him. His spider strings, his spider nets, you've probably seen those before, a flying car, and an enormous robot. After watching a few episodes, it didn't exactly feel like a Spider-Man show. It felt more like a Japanese Batman series where Spider-Man and Batman switched minds. And like Doc Ock and Spider-Man switched minds once. I did like that theme of Takia bouncing back and forth his life as a superhero and a motocross racer. That felt a lot like classic old Spider-Man. Despite having a successful toy line, no surprise, the show lasted a mere 9 months because Spider-Man was and still is Marvel property, and turning him into something totally different got really expensive.
Change the pardon!
As a result, reruns of the show were very, very, very rare, and only one VHS tape, including episodes 1 to 31, was ever released. It took a whopping 25 years for Japan to regain enough rights in order to bring the full series to DVD. Thank you all so much for watching. If you liked it and want to see part 2, then please do comment and give it a like. That helps out a lot. If you do, the next episode should be out around Saturday. And anyway, thanks for watching, and have a good week.